We've been engaging in many kind of actions. The first one that has to do with the key structural organization. In times of crisis, you need to show transparency and accountability on what you do. And we addressed critical governance and control gaps that were identified by JIU, all our audit counterparts. And we believe this is important for the organization. And we have established the controller position and management services division, that in terms of our structural reorganization. We have also strengthened risk management. As you know, we operate under the 3 lines model of defense in terms of risk management, and we have reinforced the first and second lines of this defense system. And this risk framework is 100% aligned with internal and international standards. And third, and just focused on what is happening currently, I convened this ORMG, which is Organizational Resilient Management Group, a group comprised of the DSG, ASG, the controller, the legal counsel, the chief of staff, and myself, to really help decide on what we need to act given the circumstances. But we are not working in isolation. We did create this cross-organizational task team that has been created to design a coordinated response. That means that we get the feedback from the department directors, the staff association, the youth representation, and internal oversight office, which acts as an observer, to get the information of what are the ideas, what are the priorities, and what are the concerns that we have within the staff to really end up with some recommendations that we will need to take for sure in the short time. Now, let me move to the second point, which is where we are in terms of our flagship initiatives. As you know, early warnings for all is the key one, and we've been making significant progress, as highlighted by the president in his opening remarks. And we are happy to share with you that we have already completed the capacity assessment of 58 members, and 14 national roadmaps have been developed for implementation. My point here to share with you is what can we read out of these 58 capacity assessment from the NMHSs that are mainly small island developing states, least developed countries, and some other countries that were already included. First, the good news is that we can tell progress in hazard forecasting. That's very important. The second, I would say, most important outcome is that 90% of these countries rely on global centers. That means that our WIPS infrastructure behind is 100% necessary to really move forward. The second point is that the 76 of the assessed members use regional hazard guidance. Again, regional support, global support is absolutely needed, but those that are lagging behind. So this is, I would say, the most relevant outcome. At the same time, we need to recognize that 70% of these assessed countries experience capacity gaps, and we all know that. Looking forward, in terms of early warnings, it's not about us telling a country that they need to improve their early warning system. It's about ownership. It's about these countries engaging and gaining ownership on that. And that is where we need you on board and we need your support. I will move to the other flagship initiatives, which are, as you know, Global Greenhouse Gas Watch and Cryosphere and Water Governance and the Global Basic Observing Network. You will have documents to address the two on top of that are on top of this slide. I want to highlight that in the previous Executive Council, you approved the implementation plan. We've made progress in terms of governance, data mapping, and WIP's manual preparation. And we have a strong collaboration with the space agencies. We are facing challenges, and that's why we are going to be discussing strategies to face these challenges. In terms of cryosphere and water governance, this was a very visible year for this topic. We launched the International Year of Glacier Preservation that had a strong impact in the international community. And there are several actions that are being carried under the infrastructure, GBON, and other components to make sure that we align the priorities with our current capacities. And the capacities of member states. And we are co-leading the UN-wide integration of water sanitation across sectors that is, in a way, a real, a grounded version of UN80, if you want. In terms of the Global Basic Observing Network, we find stable compliance. Stable compliance seems to be fine, but it's not enough. We would like more. And if you remember, we created SOF to increase the compliance in terms of GBON. So in the next slide, you can see the countries, 66 countries programmed for support with SOF. In green, those that have undergone the readiness phase, and in blue, the investment phase. More than 100 million Swiss francs have been mobilized for SOF, but still this is far from being enough. If you click on the next, as you remember, SOF has a readiness phase, has an investment phase, and has a compliance phase. In the readiness phase, you can see 61 countries have participated. But when you go into the investment, or let's translate it into implementation, 18 countries have benefited. So there is a gap from readiness to implementation. And that is because we don't have enough funding to move all of these countries into the implementation of GBON. And that is where we are struggling, and that is where we need to mobilize more resources. And one strategy to do that is an initiative led by our ASG, is to launch an impact bond to really mobilize more resources to really fill this gap between the readiness and the investment. And we need to mobilize at least 150 million more to make sure that this gap is sorted out. Next slide shows the rest of the resource mobilization activities. In 2024, we mobilized 13 million. And you can see, I would like you to pay attention to where they came from. This money came from climate funds, from bilateral donors, and other donors. This is good. If you remember, we have 70 million per year, so mobilizing 30 million is a significant amount of money. This year, we mobilized during the first quarter 5 million, but we expect to mobilize 42 million. That is more than 10 million more than last year. That is a significant amount. Next slide. Yes, it is a significant amount, and this is the evolution identified by quarters. From 2025, we only have one quarter, and how it was evolving in 2024, 2023, and so on. Again, I want to highlight something that we discussed during FINAC. Extra budgetary funds do not cover what regular budget covers. Why? Because XB go directed to some priorities that donors identify. The XB is not decided in this body under the Executive Council. It is decided in a way by donors. Of course, it has to fit in our broader agenda, but it does not cover what we need to mobilize as regular budget. The next slide shows you how many projects we have now. We have 59 different, because some projects, as you know, cover 3 years, 4 years. It's not only 1 year. To slice 1 year is very difficult. And in the right panel, you will find the regional distribution of these projects. And as expected, most of them are going to Regional Association 1, that's Africa. The next box, I will not go into the details, but what I want to highlight is the diversification of partnerships and global engagements. You know, Cruz, for a while, Cruz has already celebrated its 10 years anniversary. So Cruz has been very active in many countries. But now Cruz is expanding the portfolio through different kind of strategies, including GCF, for example, and other ways of bringing more money. We also have partnerships with foundations to highlight the Rockefeller Foundation Wellcome Trust, and we became a part of the Santiago Network under UNFCCC in April 2025 to make sure that we connect with the loss and damage funding. But this points out to partnerships. Partnerships need a building exercise, need engagement, need an everyday kind of practice and exercise. And so here I'm sharing with you how we've been to gain more. First, member engagement and regional briefings. I'm personally providing regular briefings to all Geneva missions and region-specific sessions for, in the last time, for Africa, GRULAC, which is in Latin America and the Caribbean, the Arab states, and European Union. The integration with the UN system is also critical. We participated in all the high-level meetings, but also we have bilateral kind of approaches to make sure that we coordinate the actions. This is, again, UN80 in practice. And in terms of direct outreach, I had over 75 bilateral meetings with ministers and ambassadors. And I also, together with the executive management, we had official missions to NMHSs across all regional associations. And we visited some countries and highlighted there, the same as the president highlighted, are the places where we had ministerial meetings with a broader audience to make sure that they understand the value of the national meteorological and hydrological services. And we also engage in global forums and new partnerships. Here, the G20 is a high political area where we need to be present. The World Economic Forum in Davos, the Munich Security Conference, and UN Ocean Conference, to name a few. Before that, though, so this speaks about partnerships. And I try to be very brief, moving from where we are, what are the flagship initiatives, where are we in terms of resource mobilization, and what kind of partnerships we were working together. This is not possible. Nothing of this works without staff engagement and work inside in terms of strengthening the institutional capabilities. So here you can see how we've been working in increasing the engagement. We currently, the Status Association participates in all the management meetings, and also they are part of the selection panels as observers. We also created a program on leadership and capacity building for early career professionals within the Secretariat to work with the executive management and to create their possibility to really raise in their career. And you will see a lot of on ERP, which is a system called Quantum, and invites us to really navigate the current digital transformation with good tools. My following slides go to the to gender action plan and youth engagement. We are moving into parity progress. You can see the numbers there. 55% of WMO total workforce are female, and 7 senior female appointments have been made since 2024, but gaps still remains. In terms of gender network, we have more than 30 focal points engaged across the Secretariat. And we also have, for your consideration, a youth action plan with the participation of the technical pillars. So I hope you will read it in more detail afterwards. On UN80, for those that could not listen, Guy Ryder on Friday, there's 3 main areas where the UN80 initiative focuses. First, on efficiency improvements in terms of finding ways of spending less and doing more. Mandate rationalization, because the list of mandates that currently the UN system is navigating is huge, more than 4,000 mandates. And the structural and programmatic realignment, because the current architecture of the UN system is pretty complex with more than 70 entities. We are working along these lines, but keeping into consideration that we have our own mandate and our own governance, and that is our priority. We are active in the specialized Asian clusters, and we see here an opportunity for improved and shared administration services and cost efficiencies. Next and last slide. This is our 75th anniversary. It's a very important date to all of us. So we want to evolve with purpose. 75 years of delivering science for actions calls for continued adaptation to address the new challenges. Next, please. We need to streamline for impact. And here I just want to mention that this Executive Council has 97 resolutions in force. And we as an organization have more than 300 expert teams. That's not efficient. That's not streamlining. And that is not helping us to achieve our mandate. So please help us in this effort. Next and last, certainly aligning with the UN80 is important for us because it's an opportunity to reassess operations and engage with the wide UN system. So I hope we can together find the correct and fit into this opportunity. I think that with that, I finish my presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you very much. So the floor is open if any question to the SG. المجال مفتوح لطرح أي أسئلة أو تعليقات للأمين العام. تفضل إذا.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you very much, SG, for your report. The points are very well taken. I just wanted to comment on a couple of those points. In particular, the focus, of course, on efficiency is something that we really do need to take on board, and high priority must be given to the execution of our plans. We need to reevaluate many of our plans or priorities to ensure that what we do deliver is in keeping with what we can afford to deliver, and of course, what is considered most important to our regional associations. We won't get the opportunity to make our own reports this morning because of time, but I do want to point out as well that the Regional Association 4 takes note of the urgent need to reassess and to reevaluate our priorities in light of the dire contraction in the available funding. And we'll be furthering our discussions in that regard with among our management group this week. We're also mindful of the emerging need to ensure business continuity in the event of not only hydrometeorological disasters, but also in the face of geopolitical threats. And we will be giving this our immediate attention in our deliberations. We recognize, as you started your presentation, you indicated, some of the challenges that we face at this time and the context in which we operate. So I appreciate that, and I want to assure you that as regional associations, we are taking those things on board. Thank you.
Thank you. إذن ونظرا لضيق الوقت فإننا نؤجل تقارير رؤساء الأقاليم إلى بعد الجلسة أو الحدث الخاص نظرا لارتباطنا بمتحدثين خارجيين. إذا نبدأ بالفقرة التالية لهذا الصباح مخصصة لحدث خاص، وهو الدورة السادسة رفيعة المستوى للمنصة الاستشارية المفتوحة، وهي تخص بالشراكة مع القطاع الخاص والعمل المشترك في مجال الذكاء الاصطناعي. سوف يقوم السيد أوين موران نائبي الثاني بإدارة هذا الحدث. سوف نتوقف للحظة حتى تغيير المقاعد. We can give them a chance. This is the endorse. Yes, they move all this issue. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We will need about 5 to 10 minutes to prepare the room for the OCP session. So thank you very much.
No, we don't need to. Why do you?
Sir.
Really?
Yes, that's why we were supposed to have coffee break now. And we thought we need to switch over. It's a new Zoom link.
إذا نحتاج 15 دقيقة للتجهيز، فاللي يفضل يجلس أو يذهب إلى استراحة قهوة. Okay. Do you need me in this or no? No.
I mean, we love to have.
No. Do you need me in this or?